Delo Factor Live. Now, before the break, I forgot to say something really special to you. Next week, we're going to give away $100 to many viewers. Yes, $100 to many viewers. And the only way that you can receive that is if you are a Delo Factor fan. So if you're a Delo Factor fan, we know who you are, and we're automatically going to include you. If you're not, well, this is the time to do that. All right? What you need to do is you need to go to our website, delofactorlive.com, and click on Delo Fan Factor. Or you can call the office, you can BBM us, you can do so many things to actually contact us, and we'll tell you what you need to do. It only takes a few minutes. And the other thing that we're going to do tonight is, if you can tell us tonight, by calling in, not to call in live, you know the studio number, okay, emailing us, text us, whatever. If you do that tonight and tell us why you think we are giving away $100 to many of our viewers next week, we're going to give you $100 tonight. All right? So very simply, if you want $100, let us know why you think we're giving away the $100 next week. If you want to receive $100 next week, become a Delo Factor fan, and there are going to be many opportunities to receive $100. Wow, the first of its kind in St. Lucia. Don't say that we don't help you. All right. So anyway, we're going to be talking about standards tonight, all types of standards, not just the ones that we grow up with, not just the ones that we have to learn to live with. We're also going to be talking about educational standards and a really great concept coming on board for children. And this is going to be your opportunity tonight to speak to the director of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards if there's anything at all that you want to know, because I have to say that many people don't really understand what the Bureau of Standards is all about. They have this preconception of what it is you do, but they don't fully understand. And we put it to the test, as we normally do with a Delo Factor, where we actually have thousands of people on our BlackBerry messaging system. And we asked them, we said to them, look, how much do you know about standards, the Bureau of Standards, and standards on the whole in St. Lucia? A little, or, you know, somewhat, a lot. No one has says a lot. They're all on a little or somewhat. That's all. So I'm really glad that you're here, Dr. Walcott. So can you first of all start by telling us, what is your role as the director? What does that mean to be director of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards?
I think the position of director of the Bureau of Standards is really one to provide leadership to an organization. I have been fortunate that before assuming the position of director, I actually worked within the Bureau of Standards for quite some time. And that experience gave me the technical foundation to understand the work of standardization. And therefore, in the position of director, I'm better equipped to play that sort of visionary role which is required, especially in this economic situation that we face ourselves in. As a director, you're supposed to anticipate or identify situations that can be resolved through standardization and have that dialogue with the relevant stakeholders. As a director, it's important to sort of anticipate what the needs for standards would be in the future based on what the country's economic growth path is going to be. And so it's important also to have a relationship with our policymakers, our private sector partners, our public sector persons, and also the general consumer. Leading a team of approximately 30 persons, we have a number of managers who head technical departments. It's a matter of coordinating the work of the departments and ensuring that ultimately the mandate of the organization is met.
Okay. Now, you said that really nicely, and I understood it very clearly.
Yes.
But why do you think, and I know this is not new to you because we've spoken before, why do you think that a lot of people, or many people I should say, think that standards is a very difficult thing to understand?
I think with the introduction of standards, it really started with looking at the development of standards for products. The primary role was to develop standards for products and to some extent use standards as a form of regulating the trade or the sale of products. So persons would have really seen that an organization such as the Bureau of Standards played sort of a regulatory, a policing role. And I think there's still the perception that the Bureau of Standards, can be intimidating sometimes. However, that role has changed over the years. We want to ensure that when we move forward in communicating with the general public and St. Lucia as a large, that person see the Bureau of Standards as an organization that they can go to find solutions for day-to-day problems. Whether it's an issue that you're facing as a consumer, whether or not you're a private business owner and you need to resolve some issue within your operations to enhance your bottom line, I think more than likely the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards can find some solution in assisting most persons.
Okay, so what are we seeing here on the screen?
Okay, what you're seeing here on the screen actually are two members of staff within I think this may be a bottled water facility, conducting an inspection. The young lady in the white is one of our inspectors, and actually the other lady is a staff of the facility. So she's most probably having a discussion with her as far as the production at the moment.
Okay.
On the screen here, actually, we have members of staff conducting our gas pump verification program. Most consumers at the gas pump, you will recognize there's a green sticker on the gas pumps that says approved by the St. Lucia Bureau Standards. What we do twice a year is to calibrate these gas pumps to ensure that you get value for money. When we started that program, it was interesting because a lot of the distributors thought maybe the benefit would have been to the consumer only. However, some business operators actually found out that they were given more. And so there is a win-win situation with this program to ensure that all persons involved benefit. Also interesting in that picture, we actually trained some Trinidadian colleagues who visited and came to St. Lucia for some training in that area as well.
Wow, okay.
We have Wendell here, a tire inspector. Another very interesting program for the Bureau of Standards. We realized that there was a big increase in the importation of used tires into St. Lucia. Right at the start of the economic crisis, I'm sure consumers were looking for more affordable products from which they could have gotten some use from, and we saw many persons going into the business of bringing in used tires. What we did, we developed a standard for used tires, and we inspect 100% of all used tires coming into St. Lucia.
You know, I am
100%.
amazed because I was thinking, how would you ever know that they were bringing in, used tires that weren't, appropriate for our, how would you know that?
You have to keep on top of what's going on around you. We have a presence at the customs department, so we actually monitor all goods coming into the country. And from time to time, different public sector agencies use the Bureau of Standards to get statistics to verify what is being imported, the levels of imports into St. Lucia, because we actually have a handle on what's being imported into St. Lucia. What's coming in and who brings it in.
Wow. Lucia, were you amazed at this or something? I mean, you're very involved. You know about those things.
Yes.
Oh, is there anything in terms of, because I know we're going to be talking a lot about what, what you do a bit later, but is there anything like that in terms of your clients don't understand certain standards that you have to adhere to, and they ask you sometimes to cross the line?
Not really, because I suppose they know what they're accustomed to and what they're looking forward to.
Okay.
I mean, even sometimes when they go other places and they're not happy about certain things, they would mention it.
Okay.
So it's important to keep up with the standards. Because
Okay.
I do travel a lot, and I go to SPA conferences, so I see what they offer and I try to keep up to date, so I know exactly what to do for my department.
I'm amazed. I'm still amazed at this tire. I really am. What are there other things perhaps that consumers don't realize that you are keeping an eye on these things for the benefits of all of us?
I think it's important when we look at, for example, the food and beverage industry. The St. Lucia Bureau of Standards promotes food safety. So we conduct a lot of training in the area of food safety, not only for manufacturers of food products, but we've also conducted a lot of food safety training now for our hoteliers I think it is important to note that the visitors coming into St. Lucia also demand standards, and therefore again the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards assists in that area. Lucia and myself started off this morning together. Lucia was part of the launch of a beauty and wellness certification
I saw
program.
some of that. It looks really interesting.
So it's again the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards working with another economic sector, the beauty and wellness sector, which I think it's an opportune. Okay.
Yeah. So is that part of
Part
training?
of training, yes.
Right.
That would be a picture of some training that is going on.
Right. Okay. Because I think a lot of people may be surprised that when we think of standards, we just think of maybe inspectors going around to make sure everything's okay. But the training aspect of it, I'm sure there'll be a few people thinking, oh, I didn't know that. Although some of us would say, well, that's to be expected, really. It's part and parcel of monitoring standards. But I think a lot of people would be like, oh, I wasn't sure about that. Didn't know you did that. That's really nice to see.
In that picture, we have an open day, so people visiting the Bureau are learning about what we do in that picture.
Okay, lovely. Well, we've had a lot of pictures that show lots of different things there, things that I'm surprised about as well, so thank you. Now, as we go to the break, here's tonight's question. Ladera was the first resort in the Caribbean to introduce the open-air three-wall concept. What decade did this happen? The 70s, 80s or 90s? Ladera was the first resort in the Caribbean to introduce the open-air three-wall concept. What decade did this happen? 70s, 80s or 90s? The winner will receive brunch for 4 at the Sheen restaurant at Ladera, and your choice of date is the 13th, 20th or 27th of October. On the menu, green fig and saltfish salad, pumpkin gratin, curried goat, traditional barbecues of fish, chicken and pork, and delicious homemade desserts like chocolate Oreos and fresh fruit mousses and more. And I've got the name of the person here who I said we're going to get $100 to. I'm going to give you the name. So if you've been trying, because I've been hearing the phones ringing, sorry, too late. When we come back, I'll give you the name of the winner and we'll talk to you a bit more about standards. This is the Law Factor Live. See you soon.